Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on MNB World's News Mongolia, where we bring you the latest stories and updates from across the nation and beyond. I'm Batsir Namshar. Our top stories for News Mongolia. World Day Against the Death Penalty is being observed on October 10th. No reported casualties among Mongolian citizens in Israel. Child's mental trauma has an adverse effect on their future life. For the news, stay tuned. World Day Against the Death Penalty is a day to advocate for the abolition of the death penalty and to raise awareness of the conditions and circumstances affecting prisoners with death sentences. The day was first organized in 2003 by the World Coalition Against the Death Penalty.
The Day of Awareness is supported by numerous NGOs and governments, including Amnesty International, the European Union, and the United Nations. In 2015, Mongolia's parliament passed a historic law abolishing the death penalty under all circumstances. The criminal code was amended in 2012 when Mongolia ratified the second optional protocol to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, an international treaty whose purpose is to abolish capital punishment worldwide. State parties to the protocol are bound to not only refrain from carrying out executions and handing down death sentences, but also to anchor abolition in national law.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia expressed deep concern regarding the ongoing situation in Israel and Palestine, which has resulted in the tragic loss of many lives. In response to inquiring from reporters about Mongolian citizens living in Israel, ministry representatives shared some pertinent updates.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs noted that this conflict poses a grave threat to peace and stability in the region, with potential for further consequences. It urged all parties involved to immediately cease hostilities and work toward de-escalation through constructive dialogue, diplomatic efforts, and a spirit of goodwill. Over 200 Mongolian citizens are residing in Israel and staying in close contact with the Mongolian embassy in Ankara, Turkey. So far, there have been no reported casualties among Mongolian citizens. A state of emergency has been declared in the region, resulting in the suspension of public transport, the closure of shops and offices, and residents being advised to remain in their homes. Major airlines have been forced to cancel or delay flights due to safety concerns. The Minister of Foreign Affairs advises Mongolian citizens residing in the area to stay in their homes, avoid public areas, and adhere to the guidance and warnings issued by Israeli authorities. Caution and vigilance are of utmost importance during this challenging period.
Annually, on October 10th, we commemorate World Mental Health Day. The theme for 2023, established by the World Foundation of Mental Health, is Mental Health is a Universal Human Right. This day is dedicated to increasing awareness about mental health and fostering positive transformations for everyone's well-being. The mental health of children is of paramount importance, although it's a deeply sensitive issue. Identifying and addressing psychological shock or trauma experienced by children can lead to beneficial outcomes.
Research indicates that when a child undergoes a psychological shock or trauma in their formative years, it significantly influences the quality of their future life. A study conducted among Mongolian children revealed that many of them experience neglect and violence, with a notable number growing up without experiencing the love and care of their fathers. A child may grow up alongside their parents, but if subjected to neglect, they do not receive the complete love and support from their family. This has a detrimental effect on the child's inclination towards starting a family and selecting a future spouse. In essence, cultivating a warm and nurturing relationship is crucial, as this is the lens through which your child perceives you and envisions the person who will constitute their future family. A boy looks up to his father as a role model, shaping his vision of the kind of father and husband he aspires to be in the future. Similarly, for girls, a father's presence and involvement plays a crucial role in their choice of future spouse. Children primarily observe their own parents, not those of other families. As they are not privy to the parenting styles of others, they instinctively emulate the behavior of their own parents from an early age. Even when parents are extremely fatigued, it remains essential for them to dedicate quality time to their children. When a child senses neglect from their parents or siblings, it can have a significant impact on their self-confidence, social skills, and sense of independence. Children express their psychological experiences through their toys and drawings. A teenager's emotional state can be detected by the colors they choose to draw, while a young child can be identified by the way they play. Depending on child's emotional state, they may sometimes express their anger and frustration through the use of colors like red, black, or dark blue. This can be an indication that the child might be experiencing feelings of depression. The psychological discomfort experienced during child development can have a detrimental effect on both brain development and behavior. However, it's important not to assume that every individual shock a child experiences will necessarily lead to long-term damage. In cases where a child is in immediate danger and receives timely assistance, there are instances where the impact on the child's brain may be mitigated.
If a child becomes unusually quiet or withdraws, parents should take notice. However, it's crucial to recognize that children naturally go through phases of development. For example, around the age of 5, it's not uncommon for a child to begin testing boundaries, which might include occasional fibbing. This behavior is a sign of their growing imagination and shouldn't be met with harsh restrictions.
Children who have experienced psychological trauma often exhibit common symptoms, including seeking more attention, displaying aggressive behavior, expressing feelings of loneliness, crying without an apparent cause, lashing out, and demonstrating heightened irritability.
Mining Week 2023 is being organized in Ulaanbaatar for the second year on October 9th through 13th in cooperation with the Ministry of Mining and Heavy Industry and the Mongolian National Mining Association. More than 300 people representing about 20 countries, including representatives of government organizations, businesses and investors in the mineral resource field, are participating in this year's event.
The event will cover topics such as Vision 2050, Mongolia's long-term development documents, the sector's policy reforms in the new revival policy, and investment environment reforms. The Ministry of Mining and Heavy Industry is focusing its policy measures on supporting responsible mining, consistently protecting the interest of law-abiding domestic and foreign investors, increasing responsibility and private sector cooperation, and increasing the industry's competitiveness. During the opening ceremony, President of Mongolia, Khulsukh, highlighted that more than 60,000 people work in the mining sector. 1/4 of the economy, more than 80% of exports, about 30% of budget revenue, and almost 80% of investment come from the mining sector alone. Mining sector is developing as an important economic and financial pillar for our country.
We know the problems that the mining industry is facing. Before, individuals used to buy a lot of licenses without any intention of making investments, just to sell later and make profits. All this creates a negative impression about the sector to citizens. Therefore, it's necessary to solve these emerging problems. As an organizer, we promise that the second event will have a broader and rich program in the days to come, just as it opens with a wider scope and more participants.
The event is expected to address the industry's competitiveness, developing products and production that meet global trends and market demands, ensuring the public's participation in government policy and decision-making, seeking joint solutions, creating a favorable investment environment, and accelerating legal reforms.
You're watching News Mongolia. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The Nant History Museum is set to host the highly anticipated exhibition Chinggis Khan: How Have Mongols Changed the World? Organized by the Chinggis Khan National Museum and the Ministry of Culture of Mongolia, the exhibition will be held from October 14th to May 5th of 2024 in Nantes, France. The groundbreaking exhibition transports visitors through time and space to explore the extraordinary legacy of Chinggis Khan, one of history's most enigmatic and influential figures. It features an extensive collection of artifacts, arts, and historical documents, offering a comprehensive insight into the life and times of Chinggis Khan and the rise of the Mongol Empire.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for Mongolia and world major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you on Wednesday with more news and updates. Goodbye.